this really. So,
hello and welcome to LARP Noobs.
hello and welcome to another episode of the LARP Noobs, hosted by the strange guy who is occasionally here, Bungle. I'm joined by Millie.
Hello.
And today we're talking about our quite recent LARP adventure to Flying Lead Nightmare.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun. My first experience of Nightmare. Both Ian and Dave have done them previously.
I've never done them before either. It was absolutely terrifying.
I think you've done Flying Lead, but this is your first Nightmare, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first time I've ever done any sort of one-shot LARP.
Yeah, it's my first ever time doing a blank firing LARP, which was incredibly fun.
How did the blank balance survive it, Bug?
Yeah, it's great. It's fine. Yeah, we'll mention less about that as we can. But yeah, so Nightmare. So obviously it's at is it Eversley? The site?
The gunmen at their alpha site.
Yeah, which, as sites go, it was amazing. I was in awe of this site with the various different buildings and all that. It was, considering what I'm used to is usually either Dadwood Roads, failing infrastructure and shite. To put it nicely, I mean, like, obviously all the money's saving up to being put towards getting a new site at some point in the future. So anything that's there is just basically falling apart, like the centre building, forge, and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas the stuff at Eversley is like, it's sturdy. You trusted being inside the building and not going to fall on you.
Now, how's this for a concept? There are roofs.
Yeah, not getting rained on or beaten by the sun when standing in a room, which was incredibly nice and different from what I'm used to.
It's a good site. I really enjoy it. It's run by an incredible team of people. It's great, and I was really worried at the start of the weekend actually because I was looking at the weather forecast as you do, and it was like rain all day. Everybody was getting battered by the storms. There was flooding everywhere. And then I turned up to site on Friday morning, and I was like, "Oh, this is quite nice, really. It's quite good." Yeah.
Yeah, whereas I rocked up a little bit later, and I'm guessing you were sort of like hiding away during any point of rain because you were staying in my tent.
Yeah, we were tent buddies forever. It was great.
Yay. Which was a nice change for me as well, because a 5 metre bell tent on your own is very, very cold. So having yourself and Dave in there at the same time meant my tent was quite toasty warm for an evening rather than freezing my bollocks off.
Yeah, I was a nice little sandwich filling to your spoons. It's great.
Oh dear. Right.
So do you want to talk through characters?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, since I was brand new to the series, I had a whole new. Well, initially, because the actual game plan or document didn't come out till probably about the week before. So I was going from an older document where they had the class of charlatan. So I was in my head originally going to do a snake oil salesman, going along that route. But then obviously with the stuff like vampires, a charlatan wouldn't really make much sense doing seances and stuff.
Yeah.
So they brought in the class preacher.
Yeah.
And trapper as well was included. So they had no healers on this weekend.
Yeah, which I, as somebody who is a serial healer at any kind of LARP, was a terrifying concept to me, because I turned up, talked to Johnny at sign-in, and I was like, he's like, "What class are you this weekend?" I was like, "Healer," and he just looked at me as if I was an absolute idiot. He was like, "Try again," and I was like, "Gunslinger."
Well, you say you're serial healer. Well, I played a priest, whereas at Empire, I mean, a priest. So, yeah,
very original.
So yeah, playing the Father Killian O'Rourke, of an Irish Catholic priest who's been in the States for a couple of years and come here to the opening of the new chapel. And yeah, whereas yourself?
Well, I came to last Flying Lead as my doddery old lady Phyllis, and I was kind of a little bit emotionally attached to her, seeing as Phyllis's husband Wyatt, who's played by the ever incredible human being Daisy. I was like, okay, Phyllis, I need an excuse to flirt shamelessly with this person, so I'm gonna go as Phyllis again, Phyllis and Wyatt. So we were going on our honeymoon kind of thing. which Wyatt was not best pleased about when Phyllis was like, "We're on our honeymoon." He just kept on going, "Phyllis, we've only been married for 4 weeks." But yeah, so Phyllis downgraded herself. Well, not downgraded. She was usually a terrifyingly old surgeon. But this time I thought, ugh, I'm so ill. I thought I'm going to be a gunslinger. So I gave myself an inordinate amount of bullets. I looked at my player pack at the start, and like the whole thing about Nightmare is it's all random resources. So everybody gets a random number of bullets. As gunslinger, you get a set number of bullets as well on top of that. So I was like, I had a hefty chunk of ammunition.
Yeah, you get the 30 as the gunslinger, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. And boy, did I need them. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Because you were using one of Dave's revolvers.
Yeah.
Originally, I was going to be using one of Dave's revolvers as well, but then Dave got a last-minute ticket.
Yeah.
So he ended up using his revolvers, and I ended up getting hold of a lovely Winchester repeating blank firer.
Ah, so it's Dave's fault that you bought it, I see.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. So I definitely will have to be going to more flying leads in the future to make the most of that.
Yeah. It was a good rifle, man. You looked so good in your kit and everything.
It was incredibly fun, and
yeah.
I mean, I did initially plan to wear trousers, but unfortunately I haven't worn trousers because I haven't had a proper office job for about 15 years. So all my trousers are 15 years old, and I've aged and gone wider, therefore trousers no longer fit.
Matured with age like a fine wine.
Exactly, but the benefit with the setting of flying lead, it's when jeans were first starting to be worn, so I was able to get away with a pair of denims. So.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I really like about the Western LARPs is you can, that comfort kit.
Yeah.
I was wearing a knitted jumper and a massive woolen overcoat for most of the weekend. I was delightfully cozy.
Yeah, whereas I was denim shirt and then a woolen overcoat over the top of that.
It was strange how we were weirdly matching.
Yeah,
like,
not even planned.
Like just before time in on the Friday, when we were going off to the safety briefing, and we just looked at each other and we were like, "We're not married in this system." Fuck's sake.
No, that's Empire.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, because obviously they do the safety briefing at the start, which is, I mean, it's really good to do. I mean, it's mostly common sense of like, don't point blank with blank guns.
Yeah.
Because even though they're side or top venting, or bottom venting, whatever.
Yeah, they
you still get shit clacking out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's still a little bit of shrapnel and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. Nothing dangerous, but it's not particularly pleasant to get a face full of wadding.
Yeah, burning powder or wadding. Yeah. I mean, I did have a few ones go off the side of my head, which I paid for, but not always remembering to put my ear protection in time.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing is, like, when things are so quickly, you don't always get a chance to go, just put my ear protection in, because with mine, I can barely hear a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, my hearing's shot anyway. I've a misspent youth of going to too many gigs and listening to loud music. I have permanent tinnitus anyway.
Yeah.
So that weekend was a lot
great
more
for
tinnitus.
it, isn't it? Oh yeah. So
yeah.
Good.
So good. When your hearing's already shot, then why not? Not going to get any worse, is it?
No, exactly. So yeah, we did. Did you go? We went to the gunman, Neil at
Yes, Neil at Packing Iron.
Yeah, the hero that funds the entire blank firing empire.
Absolutely amazing selection of weapons he's got as well. And initially I was there, and I've been jonesing for that mare's leg.
Oh yeah.
But with it being a PFC, it's not very practical in that environment. You having to pick up the rounds you fire out.
Yeah.
Hence the Winchester, which takes the 8 mils.
Yeah.
They just go out. But I will talk about the one incident I had with that, because there's the people who are in the know with these things, they know what these Winchesters have a tendency to do.
Yeah, but anyone, I feel like we're falling into that trope where you have people that don't understand gun lingo. Like we should really publish. There'll be like a sister episode where Dave talks you through all of
the nuances of firearms.
Yeah, basically, all of the weapons you have your LARP combat. This is the one thing that I forgot for the weekend as well, was that you needed a trusty close quarters knife.
I had a spare cookery in my tent. You should have just asked.
Now you tell me. But
I always have two anyway. You just know this.
Yeah, but it's so we had a close quarters thing for when you're in engagement between 6 foot and point blank, and then from 6 foot onwards you're allowed to use your blank firers, and basically what you're firing when you fire a blank fire is just a tiny little bit of gunpowder that makes it look aesthetically pleasing and make it sound aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
And then you basically need to get the attention of your attacker, and then by going like, "Hey!" and then shoot them, and then they go down. It was really great. But I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're just talking about the booms.
The boomsticks.
Yeah, big boomsticks. So Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Friday tends to be time in at 9 o'clock in the evening.
Oh yeah, it was a late one.
So late timing, which was quite good for me because I only had half-day holiday to use so I had to have work for the morning, drive down to Eversley, which is always fun because M25, yay, and get everything set up, and then safety briefing, and then it's basically a nice little sort of social event to get to know the other people there. That's
the thing that I really like about iLARP games is the fact that the Friday night's like a little soft launch. So we all kind of there are two kind of distinct campsites when you're at Eversley. There's the sort of the western town, which is where most of the built infrastructure is, which is where you kind of go to hang out. And then you've got Viking, which is just across the road, and it's really nice. It's sort of where Legio takes place, I think, where the most of the stuff that happens there. And we were kind of camping there, but the majority of the people were camping over in Western, so we had our nice little private spot. And we were camping with so we had me, you, Dave in our little trio tent. We had Ellie. Who else did we have? We had Joe.
Yep, Joe.
Who plays oh god, I know his name.
Ambrose,
yeah.
Mr. Mumbles.
Mr. Mumbles, indeed. The Cornish legend.
Yeah.
And then we had two guys that I sort of seen in passing but never really kind of hung out with.
Alex and I can't remember the other gentleman's name. So bad with names.
Yeah, congratulations. We're just as bad at names as Dave and Ian are.
Yeah, we apologise.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was hooked up on Lemsip and hot toddies most of the weekend because I turned up having just got my voice back, which is why I sound like this still.
Michael and Alex.
There we go.
The
French, the French
Jean-Paul and Paul Jean.
Yes, so good.
Which was fun, that they'd keep muddling up who was who out of those two as well over the weekend.
Yeah, and then we had a couple of other people that were just they're just such good people in our little tent area. It was so fun. So Friday time in comes, and me and you kind of wander into town and head straight for the pub, which is exactly what you're supposed to do in a Western environment.
Head straight for the saloon, and I have Phyllis yelling at me, "Have I seen your husband?" And obviously, I've never met your husband. I have no idea who your husband is. And have you seen my husband? Every 5 minutes, it's like, I don't know who your husband is. Oh, he's the handsome one.
He's definitely not the 37th husband to an 86-year-old gold digger at all.
I'm also certain that number changes every time.
Oh yeah, even I lose count. Then it's the length of time we've been married. It's all a bit strange. So yeah, we had James as well from Fancy Nuts.
Yes.
And also all of the LARPs and TARPs were there. Like a nice little LARPers and podcast reunion. It was really nice.
Yeah.
It's something that I really like about because everybody had their new characters, and because it was like one shot, so everybody had their sort of new twists and everything. Everybody was bringing their A game this weekend because everyone was like, "No, I'm not this person, but I am them usually. But I'm doing this," and so everybody was just bringing their A game with their RP. It was so good.
Yeah, Ellie was playing a younger version of her mainline character.
Yeah, without the eye patch.
Yeah. Not sure with Ambrose.
Well, yeah, it's like
I didn't understand half of what he was saying most of the time.
Oh yeah, Ambrose it's the thing that I really love about any kind of interaction you have with Ambrose. You kind of just have to go, yeah, sure.
Smile and wave. Smile and wave.
Phyllis always thought he was just doing the shipping forecast. That was my excuse. But yeah, so we had that, and then there were loads of priests this weekend. I guess because it was like, obviously it's Nightmare, and everybody knew that it was going to be vampires. So we had Oily with Blackjack coming back in, and then there were the two charlatans, Father Killian O'Rourke.
I was not a charlatan.
No, I know, but you were a priest.
Genuine father.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
Hey, exactly. I was offering to do confessions.
Phyllis would have kept you in one spot for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think in the end I'll just think, I'll just do 5 Hail Marys, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine, dearie. And then there was a phenomenal, I think they were playing French. It was Marie.
Yes, Marie's preacher.
Yeah,
was also
incredible.
Preacher as well. Yeah.
So good. And they normally play. The time I'd seen them before at Flying Lead they were like the surgeon that sort of kept on patching Phyllis up after all of the bead draws. So it's really cool seeing people do things that are sort of slightly out of their comfort zones or just something different from their norm. It was so fun.
Yeah, because I think Oily as well, he normally plays, I think Blackjack's normally a healer as well.
Yeah.
No,
Blackjack's a preacher.
He's a preacher. Okay, so he's
the same. But so good. Like any person that commits to the bit so much to be wrapped up in bandages for a whole weekend.
Oh yeah. My favourite thing had to be because I got my ticket from the waiting list several weeks after initial ticket sales went on, and I got to the point where I was like, I ain't going. I'm not going to get into this. Quite upset about it. But when I got my ticket, I thought, you know what? I'm going to keep it stum.
Yeah.
Let a few people know that I'm going. But I knew that I wasn't going to let Oily know because I wanted to see his face when he spotted me there.
Yeah.
And that was very fun to see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we love Oily.
Oh yeah.
And it was really nice. We had James as well, who I knew from Northern Kingdoms, who brought his friend Alex, and their other friend came along. So it's just really nice. Friday sort of soft launch. Everybody starts sort of milling about, and then some of the crew come in. Notably for Phyllis, she got grabbed first off by an Irish lad named Killian. Was it Killian Byrne, I think?
Killian Byrne, yes.
Yeah.
Was his name.
He was so good. He absolutely insane RP. And actually, to be honest, like he pulled me aside and we were just chatting in the pub for about an hour. And it was just really nice having one-on-one RP with someone, because that never happens to me. Like sort of not in a bad way, but like at Empire, because I'm Agni, everyone wants to talk. Yeah, legit. Like Agni, write this down, and I'll be honest, dear listener, I know very little about the lore of the Empire. I try and understand it. The wiki is just too intense for me.
You think Dave knows much?
But yeah, so it's sort of I'm like the vessel, and then at Northern Kingdoms, it's very noisy, so you only get quite a lot of intense RP and brilliant RP, but it's never sort of one-on-one like that. But to have someone come and notice you and actively want to interact with you was a really, really special moment, and it was so cool. And then he gets out this deck of cards.
Oh, that deck of cards, yeah.
Oh yeah, that deck of cards. It was so it was basically a more PC. This was not a kid-friendly pack of cards, ladies and gentlemen. No. It had various different images on it about artistic representations of what various people get up to you know, when they want to
behind closed doors.
Yeah, so, or very open doors, if
Yeah.
you saw some of these things. But yeah, so that was really fun, and it was just really good, wholesome RP.
Yeah.
It was so good, and like we made a joke about the fact that it was just portraits of Phyllis with her various different lovers and husbands.
So it's 52 then.
Well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was fun, and that was basically all of Friday, wasn't it? Did anything special happen for you?
I remember talking with James's character. I'm trying to remember the Gustav initially, and then Gus later on, because he was playing a bit of a fraudster sort of character. Like Gustav looking for investments into his invention.
Yeah.
And he told us about the museum being robbed of an uncut diamond that was left in an unlocked case.
Yeah.
Turns out it was him who nicked it. So.
Oh no. It's something that I really enjoyed about Flying Med as well, was the amount of depth that people came with their characters. Like they were con artists, and then they were RPing as outstanding gentlemen and ladies and everything in between, and then as the weekend unfolded, it was like just more and more layers of various different like con artistry.
Was it the South Carolina, Arkansas, and Massachusetts train line, which the acronym obviously is SCAM?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So that was going on as well. So you had him sort of paying for things with checks.
Yeah.
Which never trust a check.
Oh god, yeah, no. But yeah, so that was it with Friday. I don't even remember what time I got to bed. The one thing I will say that I really enjoyed about this weekend was my surgeon's bag.
Oh, that was an awesome piece of kit.
Oh yeah. So, anybody who knows me at LARP knows that I'm a feeder. You have to be when you go around with Dave and Bung, because you guys don't look after yourselves at all.
I normally have my own jerky.
Yeah, well, yes you do. But yeah, so it was like basically my uncle was a surgeon, so he had one of those really old-fashioned. I mean, probably new-fashioned for him at the time, but it was the stereotypical leather surgeon's bag. And my aunt very kindly gave it to me, and it was like, you just use it how you want to. So naturally, I shoved it full of sausage and various different sweets, pastries. There was a surprising amount of stuff.
Oh, the gummy worms are awesome as well.
Oh yeah. That was my favorite thing on the Friday, when I was like just sat in the bar. And Ellie caught me filling up my tankard with alcohol from my bag. And she was like, and Eve was like, Phyllis, you're not supposed to do that. Like, do it at the bar, Phyllis. You pay for this. And I was just there like, no, Phyllis doesn't pay for any treats.
I'm pretty certain there's a point where you put your full tankard inside of your bag as well.
Oh yeah, like everything went in that bag.
The pocket sausage became bag sausage, basically.
Yeah. Pocket sausage trademarked. The thing that we had really good like the crew at ILOP, so good, because when you've got like a bar set up as well, having an NPC that just sort of mans the bar constantly is so good. And that was Hector for us as well.
Yeah, Hector and, Lucy Lou, the journalist, as we knew her at the time on Friday.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't even think that she actually just wasn't a journalist. I think Phyllis just latched on to somebody writing down notes. I'm fairly
certain she said she was a journalist, or was it just Phyllis who started that rumour?
It was Phyllis that started that rumour. Basically,
it was Phyllis.
It's now become a trope where as soon as I see anybody writing anything down, I instantly give them a quote.
And the quote you gave for this one was good.
Oh yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
you got it.
Well, I can't even. I mean, I'll be honest. The hot toddies was flowing pretty steadily by that point, but it was like
it was cold toddy, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was gross. I am not a cocktail maker at all in the slightest. But it was basically like I felt so ill all weekend, and I just was like, I just need to get warm. I was like, I filled up my cup with some whiskey and some lemon and some honey, and I went off to the crew area to go and get some hot water. There wasn't any because they just sort of emptied it out. We were waiting for it to boil. So I went naturally. I was like, sod it, I'm desperate. I'll just have cold water. It was not good.
No. Very alcoholic though.
Oh yeah. No half measures here.
No.
But yeah, so basically Lucy, I can't remember her second name, like
Lou.
Lucy Liu. Her character trope is that she was journaling, and sort of documenting the people that were coming through town. And I realised we haven't even talked about the whole premise of The Weekend.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we're really good podcasters, aren't we?
Yeah. There's a reason that I tend not to do this.
This is the B team, and you know it.
Yeah.
So basically, the whole premise of The Weekend was that we were at Liberty Falls, which was a town up in the mountains, which would explain the cold weather.
Yeah.
And it was Hector, who was the barman, calling all hunters and trappers into town for a hunting contest.
It was the mayor, wasn't it, calling everyone in?
Oh, was it? I thought wasn't Hector's name on the flyer?
I can't recall.
Yeah, but either way, so there was this whole thing. It was a hunting contest. That's why we were all there. So if you were a trapper, the game mechanics were so good. So you had gunslingers who just got extra bullets, which turned into mighty fine handy. And then you had your trappers who could lay white ribbons across an area and trap either creatures or monsters or people. You then had your priests who could what were the mechanics for you and priests?
With the priest we got 3 vials of holy water. And using that holy water we could either basically using our like reliquary, so like I had a what's it called? Rosary.
Yeah.
Using that and my holy water I could basically push back evil beasts.
Yeah.
Or I could work alongside a trapper and bless their trap to make it a much stronger holy trap, which is what we ended up doing with the majority of our stuff.
Yeah.
Like at various points in the town setting holy traps.
Holy traps.
Or blessed traps, however you want to put it.
I like holy trap sounds so much better.
Yeah. So in my pack I'd got the 3 holy waters, 3 blue ribbons and 3 sort of like snap bracelets of blue.
Okay.
The trappers had white ribbons and yellow snap bands to light them up at night time, because obviously it's November, it's going to get dark pretty early anyway.
Yeah, that dark. I have never been scared of the dark before. My God, you're scared of the dark when you're at Flying Lead, that's for sure. I was not a fan. especially when Phyllis has the walking pace of a snail with arthritis.
Yeah.
Like, it is scary.
Well, once the adrenaline hit, Phyllis was like...
Oh, mate, we'll talk about that later, but I was... like, there was a point where I fully broke character. I was like, no way, not anymore. But yeah, and then there was trappers, priests, gunslingers... cowboys, which were the sort of the go-between medic and gunslingers.
Yes,
right?
what they could do is they could create stakes, which had to be made from basically ancient wood, which is a resource that had to be found.
Yeah.
And basically once they'd found that, there'd be a set amount of ribbons on each of those items, and that'd be how many stakes they could make.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd basically go off to the game team, I believe in the museum, where one of the hot water pots was, and basically they'd swap the ancient wood prop for LARP safe stakes.
Yes, it was really good.
Yeah, so that was their mechanic basically, was they could craft these stakes, which anyone could use a stake.
Yeah.
But only the cowboys could make them.
See, this is why you're here, so that you can remember things.
Yeah, I remember some things.
Nice. But yeah, that was pretty much it, right? That was the only thing that happened on Friday. Was there was lots of chats, lots of drinking, but I was
and the fireworks display.
Oh, and the fireworks, which I was like, I love fireworks. They make me so happy. But Phyllis does not like fireworks.
Oh, Phyllis has PTSD, doesn't she? She was
Phyllis,
like, we're under attack.
Phyllis was like, as soon as that bang happened, she was like, because basically my thing is whenever everyone fires and discharges their rifles and pistols all the time at Flying Lead. Like, you constantly hear gunshots. So naturally, Phyllis just goes, bless you, whenever she hears it. But when it's more than one shot,
Yeah.
you're under attack. So Phyllis hid out in the bar, which was such a shame because it was such a good display.
Well, one shot's a misfire. More than one shot is a gunfight.
Yeah, which is what Oily kept on reminding us. It's like, if it's one shot, you're fine.
Yep.
So yeah, there was the fireworks, which was so cool.
Yeah.
And then I think that was pretty much it. Dave. Oh, so I was certain Dave wasn't going to come this weekend because he didn't get a ticket in the first release.
Yeah.
And then he had just quite a lot of stuff going on at work and things. So I was like, okay, cool. So it's just going to be me, Bung, and we're going to have so much fun. And then Dave just sends me a video of the count from Muppets.
Yes, the censored count video, I believe, is the one he used.
So, and he just was like, he's like, yeah, I'm coming. He turns up looking like a goth prince. He was so good.
Count Vlad Duku.
Yeah, and he turned up like a rooting tooting cowboy, yeah? And it's so funny watching his accent slip. It was so good. And it was like, basically he was just going as a meme of the count where he would just count and he'd be like, 1 bullet, up, 2 bullets, It was just so fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he was there, and it was just nice. It's just a nice little time where you just dress up and play pretend with all of your best mates, and it was so fun. So good. But he was exhausted, so he put the bloody thought in our head. He went off to bed about midnight.
I think we lasted another 30 minutes before. I think it was you, me, and Ellie were like, bed just seems like a really good idea now.
I couldn't stop thinking about my bed. I was like, it's going to be cozy. I had a hot water bottle. I had hand warmers. I had coziness. It was delightful.
I had a pile of blankets on my sleeping bag.
So cozy. I was really worried about being too cold all weekend, and I did not have that issue at all.
Yeah.
So good. And that was pretty much it on the Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was just basically socialising, getting to know the characters that are joining us in this adventure in Liberty Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Which then brings us round to Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Which, greatest thing I've done ever at LARP is those meal tickets.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, buying meal ticket for the entire weekend.
So good.
Oh. A hot breakfast in the morning. Like, bacon and egg bap, yes please.
So good. And also, like, it was so nice in the morning, 6:45. I woke up at 6. I had to go to the loo. I went to the loo, closed the flaps on the tent, dear listeners, to get your minds out of the gutter. And as soon as I got back into my cozy bed, the rain started, and it was pouring it down.
Oh yeah, I think I woke up probably just after you'd got back in the tent, and I was sitting there in my sleeping bag, and I could hear the rain starting. I was like, "Oh, my chair's outside. I should get that in." And then just the rain opens up, and I was like, "Well, it's soaked now, so oh well."
We were really lucky with the weather this weekend, though, weren't we? I think there's it was flu season, and wet weather was like the reason why quite a lot of the players that were booked on that I knew about didn't come.
Yeah.
And then it just like luck of the draw. It was just really nice weather.
Yeah, I think that was the only proper downpour was early on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and then it finished as soon as breakfast service started, when we were all queuing up. It stopped again, and it was really nice.
Yeah,
good old British small talk about the weather.
Oh yeah, can't go wrong with it.
No, not at all.
How about that weather, lads?
Oh yeah, right. Have we talked about that weather yet? We our Saturday started off, had our breakfast, had our little catch ups in the morning, coffee around the campfire.
Yeah.
And then my first sort of encounter was going out to the Hunter's Lodge, right?
Yes. So the part of the big hunt that was supposed to be on, there was like 3 groups sent out to 3 different locations. Mm-hmm. The group we were in went up to the Hunter's Lodge.
That's the one.
Which I think we were trying to read the map. I think we took the wrong way one bit, and then we could hear one of the last survivors of this Hunter's Lodge crying, which I think maybe like you're supposed to be over here.
Yeah, that was
little
quite
bit.
funny.
But,
Yeah, and we sort of come across this hunter's lodge. It's all kind of such good infrastructure at that site.
yeah.
And there's dead bodies everywhere. And they're not just, and you can, like, there's prosthetics, there's viscera, there's like everything. They're all covered in blood.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about LARPers in general is that the first thing anyone does is they kneel down and they subtly go, "I'm looting you right now."
Hey, the good father did not loot a single corpse.
No, well, that's because the good father got there after everybody else had got there.
No, the good father was being a good priest, doing last rites.
Well, certainly the case for Phyllis. Every single time she came and looted anyone, everybody had already got there first.
Oh, no, I think you came away with, what, an additional 4 get off me's, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, the get off me mechanic was really good as well.
Yeah.
It was basically, God, we're so good at explaining things. The get off me mechanic was basically a way of ensuring your safety. So it was like a lives counter, and you got any between 2 to 4 in your starters pack, right?
Yeah, I think it's 2 to 4, 2 to 5.
Yeah, and I was lucky. I got max count on pretty much both things. I think they took pity on a poor old lady.
On the random bag.
Yeah, exactly. So it was where you would shout, "Get off me," and it was like any enemy within like a 6-foot range circle of you would take about 6 big paces back, or they would freeze and give you time to like change position.
They'd go back 6 foot, so you'd be able to either run away or shoot at them, basically.
Which is such a good mechanic because, like, admittedly, so it's that thing of if you once you've used up all your get off me's, you've got a card in your pack that you have to read, and then it has like RP effects.
Yeah.
On that card that then like affect your game for the rest of the weekend, right? So I luckily never got to finish my get off me's.
I finished mine at basically in the last fight against the horde, which we'll get to later. Yeah.
But yeah, so the one time I went up to a body that hadn't been looted, he gave me like 4, and I was like, "Fuck yes, Phyllis is never dying."
Further giving in to the theory that Phyllis is invincible and immortal.
Phyllis is fucking immortal, man. She's never gonna die out of pure spite, and also to stop Wyatt from getting her sizable inheritance. Like, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we go and there was one hunter still alive at the hunter's lodge, who was mighty terrified.
Yes, having to talk him down from shooting us when we first came up to him.
Yep.
And then managed to convince him that we'd get him back to the town safely.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have to do the wonderful walk down that hill and up that hill.
Oh, yeah.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
Reaching the fort.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we got to the fort, we heard a lot of gunfire in the distance from one of the other groups.
Yeah. And I think a bunch of us went off in the direction to go and help them, didn't we?
Yes. Basically, a load of people went off. Myself, I think Chevrolet, who is one of Oily's friends, whose first ever LARP was that.
So good.
Yeah. And it was like natural born LARPer right there.
Yeah. So good. My encounters with Chevrolet for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So just wholesome human being. Really nice.
I think one other person and the trapper we brought down from the Hunter's Lodge stayed in the fort.
Yeah.
While everyone else went off to deal with these bandits or whatever was going off in the distance.
I'd already fucked off back to town at this point. Phyllis was tired. Phyllis was done. I think it's because I'd also I have a stage rifle, a coach rifle, which Pacquiao very kindly I bought, which was amazing, but it was heavy and I didn't have a sling for it, and I had Dave's pistol as well, so it's like I had so much stuff, and I'd left my snack bag back in the bar. I didn't have my pocket sausage. I didn't have my coffee. I was very unprepared. So at the first opportunity, I went back and I very quickly got my back.
It was while I was in the fort, Basically, I was on one of the gates, sort of keeping an eye out,
Mm.
and hear a shot ring out from behind me. Turn around, and there's Chevrolet going, "Sorry, it was a misfire." So it was like, yeah, hoping that she almost took my ear off. To which, I mean, she has the gun that she was using was like basically, I think it was a cap gun, basically, sort of mostly foam.
Yeah.
And she then turns and looks down the barrel of it.
Oh, no.
It's a single shot one as well, so
yeah.
there's that. So there's no sort of danger there.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Now to speak to Blackjack later, it's like, you need to teach more gun safety.
Yeah. Blackjack, have you ever tried teaching a person how to deal with a firearm? It's it's like the thing, like blank firing pistols, because they're all side venting and back and under venting. Like,
yeah.
Technically speaking, it's okay, but it's like as soon as anybody looks down the barrel of a gun, you're like, no.
No.
Oh, no.
No.
But yeah, so that was our first encounter. There were 20 encounters on Saturday, and that was just the written ones. That was, and then there were like the spontaneous ones and the ones that developed out of RP. There were more than that.
Yeah.
The amount of steps that I did up and down that hill.
I kind of wish I had my Fitbit on for that weekend.
Oh god, yeah, no, we need to start like wearing Fitbits for LARP, because it's like anybody who has parents that ever question why they do it, like parents, siblings, relatives, friends, concerned therapists as to why you dress up in characters, just explain to them that it's exercise.
Yeah. Because
you're running around, you're doing all sorts of, like, you're carrying, the tents are heavy, everything's heavy. LARPing is exercise, and I will not hear anything against it. But yeah, that was like, the Hunter's Lodge was our first one. And then we come back, and then literally I got back, I had a quick drink, and then there was someone saying that the town was getting, like, the valley was getting enveloped in fog.
Yes, and going out investigating that. And,
yeah. And so I'd literally just got back, and then we were like, cool, off we go again, guys. See you later.
Yeah. Back down the hill. Back up
down the hill. Back down the hill. And we arrive back at the fort, go down that hill, and then there's the smoke everywhere. And it is like, hats off to the SFX team, because they worked their asses off this weekend. It was so good, like from the fireworks to the explosions to the smoke.
Yeah,
it was just amazing. And there were these people just walking through the smoke.
Yeah. And anyone from
horrible.
our side trying to go through it was being pushed back from the smoke and weren't able to pass through, which is...
Yeah. So, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever been approached by somebody who's just walking... Ambling at a slow pace. It was horrible. So, like, and I think... Was it Morgan from the Lops and Tops guys who was playing... I can't remember what his character's name was.
Oh.
But he was playing another sort of preacher, wasn't he?
Good question.
Well, either way, Morgan's character, again, phenomenal character, because he kind of just took center stage for the whole weekend. He was like in charge of everything, and I loved it. I was just there with my little whiskey, like, you carry on, good sir. But yeah, so, and then I think it was him that fired the first shot.
Yes, there was a lot of shoot first, ask questions later.
Oh yeah,
over this weekend.
Yeah,
a lot of that, and a lot of that was from the two French preachers as well.
Oh yeah,
Jean-Paul, Paul Jean.
Oh yeah,
or often shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, I mean it is the Western way.
Oh yeah, especially if you try to steal anything from their reliquaries box.
Yeah.
The box made by Jesus himself.
Oh yeah.
From the wood of the cross.
Honestly, they're such good.
They're so good.
But yeah, so the whole thing was that these people were walking through the mist or trying to escape from the mist and getting to, like, put under its spell. And the way that you broke them out of it was by
blunt force trauma.
Yeah, but of course bullets work just as well.
Yeah.
So that then starts happening, and then chaos ensued because there was so much screaming there was so much smoke, and the smoke was getting closer to us as well.
Yeah.
And then I think there were some monsters in there as well. So there were people getting attacked. It was all chaos. I didn't really know what was going on because at this point I was sort of everyone was like, "Phyllis, you stay at the back, dear."
Yeah, I think I decided to head back to town a little bit after, like, well, they're just trying to shoot these random people who are then turning out to be normal people that they're just shooting at.
Yeah.
This is no praise for a man of the cloth.
So what you're saying is you made a tactical withdrawal and it was all fine. But yes,
the whiskey behind the bar.
Well, yeah, exactly. But then the thing that I really liked as well about ILARP is the fact that when you all go out on encounters, the people that stay behind, either if they're nom-com or they're having a little moment to themselves, they don't get forgotten. There's still loads of game that happens in the town.
Yeah.
So we came back and suddenly there was loads of information in the town about vampires and like strange goings on, monstrous wolves. It was just so good.
Because there was the werewolf encounter.
Oh yeah, so that was
that the third encounter we went on, or
I think so. It was we came back to town basically after the mist, and we just sat down. We were having a nice little debrief about the fact that there were murderous people in the town just shooting anybody and everyone. And this guy comes in, and his name is Arkansas Jack. And he claims to be the best trapper, the most fearsome. You know, there's not a creature that he hasn't trapped.
It's pronounced Arkansas.
I don't know, Arkansas. Phyllis doesn't read.
It's spelled Arkansas, but it's pronounced Arkansas.
Oh, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. So anyway, so Arkansas Jack then grabs Phyllis, and it's played by the same guy who is Killian Byrne. So obviously, like, he's like, "Phyllis, you're coming with me," and I was like, "Oh God, back down the hill we go, lads." So off you'll go, and you came on this one, didn't you, as well?
Yes, yeah. This is the one where I had the incident with the rifle.
Oh yes, and I had the incident with a werewolf.
Yeah.
So we follow Arkansas Jack around, and the RP is just phenomenal. He's like checking tracks on the ground. He's getting all of this. We get to this clearing, and I shit you not, a 7-foot tall bear wolf thing just comes out of the trees and is slowly ambling towards us. And I've discovered that I'm terrified of an amble. Ambles is the most.
It's fine if they run at you. An amble, honestly, that's the terrifying one.
It's the unrelenting amble, and it's terrifying. Yeah. It's similar to a tactical bimble, but it's the fact that it just kept walking slowly, and it wasn't responding to us yelling at it. It wasn't like we shot it a bunch of times, and it kind of went down, but it kept on getting back up. And then I looked to my left, and there's another one.
Yeah, second one appears.
Oh, yeah. And that one comes screaming out of the woods. It, like, clawed and, like, knocked down one guy, and then it gets stumbled, and it locks eyes with Phyllis.
Yeah.
And poor Phyllis does not know how to deal with with it. It's terrifying. Because I was there, I had my rifle, which is a one-shot only thing, and then you can reload it, but it takes about a minute. So it's like I was just there, like, okay, don't waste this for this. Don't waste it. I shoot it. It kind of stops. So I'm like, thank Christ, it's fine. I just killed my first monster at LARP. This is fine. It gets back up again and just sprints at me. So I'm there, just like, and I fully break. I'm Millie at this point, and I'm screaming and sprinting. I, like, jump into a ditch. It follows me, and it's then on top of me, just, like, going to town, like, clawing me, mauling me. And so I'm there, lying in a ditch. And I'm like, this is it for me. I'm now dead. This is my first character death. I was coming to terms with it. It was all fine. And also, as well, because I'd run away. I'd run away from everyone else. So I was just there in the middle of nowhere, lying in a ditch, crying to myself, basically. Like this is it for Phyllis. She's dead. She's gone. I'm gonna become like a werewolf and terrorize players. But luckily Ellie saw me, so E came and rescued me.
Yeah.
Patched me back up again because Ellie was a cowboy.
Whereas when you were being chased was when I had basically I'd loaded up the Winchester with 8 rounds.
Yeah.
I've since learned that the best thing to have is 5 in the tube, 1 in the chamber.
Yeah.
Because the spring's a little bit too powerful. I think I managed to get 2 shots off.
Mm-hmm.
Then the third shot decided to basically bypass the elevator and go up into the trigger mechanism. So it basically locks the lever down.
Yeah.
Again, thank God for Neil from Packer 9.
Yeah.
Because he said, this is probably going to happen. I'm not going to show you how to strip it when I first picked it up from him because it was dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the daytime, this is inevitably going to happen.
Yeah.
So just come by and this will be a great way. I'll show you to strip it and what happens. And yeah, basically one of the little rounds was just jammed inside the mechanism.
Mm.
So in the case, just unscrewed the panels off and that. But yeah, once that had happened, basically, I'm useless. I had nothing. I had my cookery with us.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, but then you have to get up and close.
cheerio.
Yeah. Up close and personal with a werewolf.
End up sort of jogging out of the encounter back to the back to camp to get this round fixed out of the rifle.
Yeah. And so I got patched up. Wyatt wasn't with us on this particular encounter. So Phyllis naturally storms into town blaming Wyatt for the fact that he wasn't there to rescue her like a good husband should have been. I love my husband so much. It's just one of the most wholesome dysfunctional relationships.
Daisy's just an amazing person as
oh,
well,
honestly,
so.
I could fall in love with Daisy as a human being every single day of the week. This podcast is just hi, like, notice me senpai kind of like this is legit. And it's like, but it's also as well like Daisy, they were wearing a mustache all weekend, like the prosthetic and the beard, and they looked so good, and a wig. Like it was so good. Their kit was amazing. Their whole crew, their kit was incredible. But yeah, so got back into town, yelled at Wyatt for a little bit for negligence when it came to marriage, threatened divorce a couple of times, I think.
Was that also when the bride got shot by the French for taking something out of their reliquary?
Yeah. Oh God, I forgot about the bride. There was there's so much going on.
Yeah. And there was also the encounter when it was to recover the reliquary because it got stolen from
God, yeah, no,
town.
I remember that because they're basically, we got followed back from the mists, didn't we?
Yeah.
By a bunch of of thralls or ghouls or something.
Mm.
So they grabbed the reliquary, which was basically just a box with sticks, and so they grabbed it, a very holy box with sticks. But it had so much stuff in it. It had like eyeballs. It had
the eyeball of St. Christopher.
Eyeball of St. Christopher. It had a bit of the Arc de Triomphe. There was so much French stuff in there.
Yeah.
And so they stole that. So that was one of the more
RP encounter.
Yeah, like the sort of RP created. Yeah, and it was so good. So yeah, that happened. So there was so much. That's like, and also this is the thing that you forget about ILUP with the nightmare events is it only happens on the Saturday. Like the aim of the game is to be done by time out on Saturday. So we were going to have the Sunday. Like that's a lot of RP and a lot of very intense encounters to fit into 24 hours. It was a lot. Which is why if we forget about anything or we there's
so much going on. It's
so much. And I think as well, like Dave and I had a chat about this because we were so plot averse. It was almost like plot was avoiding us for the whole weekend because like we'd go out on an encounter because I think Ellie noticed this because obviously she was a cowboy, so she could go out and find the bit of holy wood to make into steak. So Ellie wanted to go out and scavenge, which is a typical thing in Northern Kingdoms where they always have like herbs and things out there. So I think that we assumed that was what the case was going to be. at at Isla, but it wasn't quite the case. So we went for a wander to go and look for wood when we found out that there were vampires about.
Yeah, but it turns out there was actually encounters to go out find the wood. Went out on one at night to go get holy water.
Yeah.
As well, we found there was a new font of holy water out there which we had to go out and get.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing as well, wasn't it? There was so much, but yeah. So like when we came back from encounters, then there were literal sheets of paper with all of the information that we need. It was so I won't lie, like so much work went into that weekend, but information wise, it was so overwhelming.
Yeah, well, that was stuff that was brought in by the NPCs, the Dutch couple.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those another thing.
Yeah.
They were really
the Order
good
of St.
players.
Giles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically they were people who were protecting the realm from vampires.
Yeah, they were like monster hunter cult team people,
the
right?
two that were in the town were pacifist scholars, and the Red Cloak encounter you were talking about earlier. That was a bunch of their fighting forces, I think, who had been turned into thralls or.
Well, yeah, but we didn't know that at the time.
At the time, you didn't know that until you came back.
Yeah, so this was. I had to take a little bit of time out because I think it was after the mist. We were having lunch, so I was sat down, had a lovely bowl of soup.
Yeah, a bowl of soup and crusty bread was good.
Yeah, and
again, the food is amazing.
So good. Like, feast your eyes. I think it is feast your eyes that do it. They're so good. They keep you fed and watered, tea'd and coffee'd all weekend. But yeah, so so I was enjoying my soup, and then suddenly the French come in and are like, "We burnt the house down. They're witches. It's all bad." And basically, these poor NPCs, these poor crew members had come in. To like play these really wholesome Dutch couples and
help us out.
And these French had just burnt their house down because they thought that they were witches. So they were like, they destroyed the house. They were like, "There's an Order of St. Giles. We're here to protect you, to save this world from the evils that are vampires. And Liberty Falls is under attack."
Yeah.
And it was...
They're the ones who'd raised the myth to keep the vampires in and not stop them from getting out.
But it was also stopped us from getting out.
Yeah, but they were also confused because the werewolves normally naturally hunt the vampires and stay away from mortal humans.
Yeah.
Whereas they seem to be working with the vampires and attacking us.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. It was. I won't lie. The small sliver of Phyllis could never die. The hope was fading very fast at this point. It was like there were vampires. As soon as I knew that there were vampires before I was coming into the game, so I was like, okay, Phyllis will just brandish her neck at everyone that she sees. It'll be fine. It'll be a funny bit of RP. There are ghouls. Okay, so they just try and bite your neck, but they don't make you into a sexy vampire lord that lives forever? Cool.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then that little bit of hope faded, and then there were thralls.
So I think it was thralls, which are people who have been mind controlled.
Yeah, and they were the ones that came out of the mist.
Yeah, and they're the ones. The first lot to storm the town was a bunch of thralls, which basically I think Killian was one of those.
He was.
Yeah, he got shot about 3 times as Killian as a thrall, bringing him back to being human. Like, why do people keep shooting me? Because obviously you're under mind control. If it was unwilling, basically you can be knocked out of it.
Yeah.
Then there was the ghouls, which are
there
were humans that have been completely drained but risen again.
Yeah, and you had to kill them. You had to use close combat with them and
close
sever the
combat to kill
head,
them.
right?
Yeah, I think close combat and removing the head. Thralls could be snapped out of it. If they were willing, then you just had to kill them, but they would be killed by regular gunfire.
Yeah, but then you could also convert the thralls by using priestly things, couldn't you? And then,
I think so.
And then
lesser vampires, which was would be killed with stakes.
Yeah.
And then you had higher vampires, which needed to be staked and the head removed and buried in a separate location.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So obviously we're just having our lunch. We're having a lovely old gay old time. It's delightful. It's wonderful. Having a nice little natter around the campfire, and then everything all goes to pot because everybody starts screaming about this Dutch couple being witches, but then people come screaming in saying that Hector, the lovely barkeep that kept our tankards full and a brimming is also a vampire.
Yes. But I think Hector had started doing visions with small groups of people.
That came later. So this was
later on?
so at lunchtime it was revealed that he was a vampire.
Yes.
And
he was working with the group from Century Hills, not with...
Yeah. So he was like a good vampire. He's like doesn't
an
eat...
ethical, moral... He doesn't eat anyone... He doesn't take blood from anyone who's not willing to give blood.
Yeah, he's the kind of vampire that sparkles in the midday sun, kind of the Edward Cullen of the universe. So...
Yeah.
So, and then it was revealed that he was he was either a child of or a sibling of.
I think he was turned by someone called Theo back in ancient Greece.
Yeah.
And then basically Theo taught him the whole moral code of basically you don't kill people for their blood. You only take blood from those who are willing.
Uh-huh.
And then they had several over the years. They'd selected a few people to join them.
Yeah.
And
then those had become the not so nice vampires. Right?
Yes, but it was basically one of them turned completely and turned the rest against Hector and Theo and killed Theo.
See, so plotiverse.
Yeah, I'm having a look through because thank you very much, Kitty.
Oh yeah,
for putting the history up on the Facebook in regards to all this
helpful.
stuff. So yeah, it's really useful to have that up here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and Kitty helped me out a lot with like the list of the encounters and stuff. So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the thing that I really liked, again, another massive like kudos to the story team. Because
that was William Graves was the last one to turn. Who was the one? He was a young guy, fascinated by it, and found out the secret and convinced them to turn him into a vampire, and he's the one who then turned the rest of the Theo and Hector's children in inverted commas against the moral code.
Yeah. So we had basically the thing that I really liked as well about the plot team is like it was every class of character that you could have had a corresponding vampire.
Yeah.
So there was like a trapper vampire, and he was the one, or they were the one that was responsible for converting the werewolves.
Yeah, Whiplash O'Connell.
Yeah, Whiplash, what a dick.
Yeah.
That was a terrifying encounter. Do you want to talk about were you on the Whiplash one?
No. Was that the one that was done over in Viking?
No. So that was
I was on the one where we went down to the fort again.
In the pitch black.
Yeah, I think that was one where the soldier, what's his name? Diddly-diddly-dee. Oh my goodness, my brain is just skimming through this text. Yeah. So the gunslinger was Sergeant John Teach. That's the vampire encounter I went down on. He challenged us to a fight down there.
Yeah, but that was in the fort. But this was way before then. Yeah. So basically, Teach was like Teach was like the big bad boss. There was
Billy's the big bad boss.
Yeah. So, but Teach was like the end goal kind of thing. So, but before then, we had to go through and kill 3 or 4. I want to say 3, 4 other vampires, and the most terrifying encounter that I went on was the Whiplash one, which was vampires. It was basically a massive cluster of all of the enemies, but in a tiny space and pitch black, and it was horrible. This was when I broke, because it was basically we all went. There were about 30 of us that went down that hill, and we all we laid up, and obviously the crew are so good at going along with the fact that we need lights to see kind of thing. So they they were acted off, and they were like, oh, there's strange dancing lights over in the distance. But then as we got closer, they were like, turn your lights off because we can see you, and then started firing at us. So we all turned our lights out. So we were pitch black. We could only see the silhouettes of people. And we saw there were werewolves down there.
Oof.
And they were just all shouting, and there was Whiplash down there trying to like get us to convert. And the ghouls, they were kind of like the World War Z zombies, where they are fast fucks.
Yeah.
So somebody starts shooting, and it all starts going to shit. So the ghouls are coming at us from all directions. We're kind of like doing a sort of a wave thing where we're going up and down the hill because we're getting shit scared, running away, and then going, come on, we've got to do this. We're LARPers, we're doing an encounter, let's go again. And we managed to down, we get these silver stakes. That was another sort of mini encounter that we did earlier, was to get and forge some silver stakes to take down these lycanthropes, which were the werewolves. So we have 3 or 4 people that have silver stakes. But as soon as we get into the valley, those people with the silver stakes were very quiet about the fact that they had silver stakes, because I think that everybody was just so scared.
Yeah.
And either they dropped them, or they were just didn't want to be like, I can do it. I'm going to go into that thrum of huge amounts of enemies and kill them. Like, which is totally fine. But it was like, I was just there like, oh no, this is awful. And so we were getting attacked from all sides. We finally managed to down one of the werewolves. And then I think because we've downed one, we kind of got the courage and got the second one. And then it's just us, a load of ghouls and Whiplash. Yeah. And credit to the person that was playing Whiplash, because they were screaming, like doing, the sort of banshee screams. They were giving it their all and like screaming and like getting us all to like, and it was terrifying. And we managed to kill them. We cut their head off. And then the Dutch couple were also with us. So they said, that's fine, they're dead, we can do it. But there was a sort of discrepancy between the information pack that we had and the information that the Dutch couple were giving us. So there was a massive argument. We got back to the fort, and there was a huge argument between a lot of the players being like, we need to go back, we haven't buried the body, which was something that the player pack or the information pack stated that we had to do. So, but then the Dutch couple were like, no, it's fine, we've done it, you guys can go. Like, you've clearly done enough fighting, you can go back to town and drink. So we spent about 20 minutes in the fort just arguing. While these ghouls were like banging on the fort door and like getting closer to us. But then as soon as one of the NPCs came in and was like, nope, Dutch couple says it's fine, everyone was like, oh, okay then. And we kind of pooted back to town. And that was when I got my little vampire vision.
Yes, I think it's when you guys were out on that thing that I had mine.
Ooh, let's talk about yours. I want to know about yours.
So my one was was Hector would basically taking a group of about, I think it was like 5 to 6 people.
Yeah.
And basically he'd offer us a tiny amount of his blood.
Diluted in whiskey.
Diluted in whiskey, which would enable us to share a memory of his. And basically, so yeah, we'd all take a sip of this and then basically pass out in the bar.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'd then go out the back of the bar into a small encounter tent. The one we had was for the gentleman surgeon of Dr. Jesse Hendricks, aka Sawbones. So yeah, it was basically a memory he had of him in regards to basically him bringing a wounded person into their bar, bleeding from a major wound in the femoral artery, trying to save their life, and arguing with Theo in regards to why can't we turn him to save them? I could save so many more people. And sort of explains like, we don't know this person, we don't know how they will act.
Yeah.
Explaining the situation of how Theo and Hector used to basically choose who they would turn.
Yeah.
Based on, will this person agree with our sort of moral standpoints? We can't just do it to anyone willy-nilly, because they might decide, well, I'm just going to slaughter people to get my blood.
Yeah.
Which I think it's sort of leading the path that we tried to do this, then this Billy came along, found out their secret, basically convinced them to turn him, and he's the one that ended up turning all the other children against Theo and Hector.
Oh, this makes sense for the. Okay, cool. I'm with you now. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
basically we saw the
heavy.
one for Jesse,
Yeah.
which was pretty heavy. This person obviously, they're bleeding out from the femoral artery bleed in the middle of this tavern.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh god, this is heavy.
That
And then we
is
go
a
back
lot.
into the bar and come to, and then we're talking and having questions with one of the people who was on the vision quest.
Yeah.
Vision with me was the guy running the SCAM rail company. And he made one statement that pissed Hector off a lot.
Oh no.
Which was in regards to, he was saying about how he would love to, earlier he was mentioning outside, about how he would love to have a vampire skull on his desk and he will pay $1,000. So when he found out there was 4 vampires, he was like, well, that's $4,000.
Oh no.
They bring me their skulls, and Hector
man.
just got very angry and left the bar. Which, again, it's like great in regards to sort of the RP there. It's like, yeah, if someone's talking about, your children, they've turned against you, but they're still your kids. So yeah, we sort of berated him a little bit for this statement.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ended up being...
Do you know, I never thought I needed a LARP-safe umbrella until I saw that man's kit.
Oh yeah, that was also
So
having a
good.
LARP safe umbrella, so that was his close combat weapon.
Yeah, that was, and also I think that as well, didn't Gus and him have an argument in the middle of town?
Oh yeah, him and Gus had a massive falling out because obviously they're both trying to scam everyone.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier with the fact that so many characters were coming in being scam artists and things, that when each of them found out about the fact that they were scammers, it was so funny.
Yeah, I just remember Gus basically coming up while I was talking to him outside and just him having a proper go in them and then storming off.
Yeah.
I think this was also after Gus had his vision, which made him switch from being Gustav to becoming Gus, just being himself, because he realised things are fucked here.
Yeah, and it's, I think as well, it was so, there was a lot. I mean, we'll keep saying it, and that's the reason why I keep on missing so much that goes on this weekend, because there was a lot. But yeah, so then I think you had your vision first, and then I had mine.
Did you have the one with same one as Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Johnny in the bath.
Oh yeah. So basically what happens is I get grabbed by Lucy, and she's like, "Darling, would you like a vision?" And I was like, "Huh?" Sort of playing the demented old lady, being like, "No, I've taken plenty of hallucinogenics in my time. I don't need to do it again." And she's like, "No, darling, you know that Hector, my lover, he's a..." Because were they lovers? I don't know. But anyway, so she's like,
weren't lovers, but
they were in love. Like, she was in love, kind of. I don't know. But
yeah, she basically gave her blood willingly
yeah,
to keep him alive.
Yeah. So she's like, my darling Hector, he's willing, and basically our blood the vision that I had wasn't from Hector. It was from someone else. It was from somebody who had, I think it was from Whiplash. My blood. So it wasn't a Hector vision. It was a Whiplash one.
Ooh.
So I hear about this vision, and this was just after me and Dave had a chat about the fact that we were just avoiding plot like the plague. Yeah. So I went out and grabbed Dave, and I was like, "Count, vision, go now!" And so we just go sit in the, and credit to Hector and Lucy, because I think obviously I may or may not have brought someone along that that maybe they hadn't accounted for because we had an extra person, but they let us come along. They were really nice about trigger warnings and things as well. Yeah. So obviously we took this blood, we put our hands up, step out of the bar, and they give us a little brief, and they're like, "Just so you know, there's going to be a lot of blood, there's going to be there's going to be a half-naked man in a bathtub." To which we were all just there cool, okay. So we get in, and they were like, "You have to keep your eyes closed. You're going to get led by someone let us know if you're not comfortable being led by a particular person. Like, it's absolutely fine. We want you to be comfortable, which is really refreshing. Like, just really nice, because it's like a safe environment. So we end it with, and all I can hear is chuckling from the crew. And it's the two togs, so the two photographers, I think, that are in there.
Yeah.
And they're just laughing their asses off. And I was like, oh no, what am I getting into? And it comes to a point where they're like, okay, open your eyes. And I open, and there's Johnny there. And Johnny is playing Teach, so big, scary vampire. And he's lying in, you know, those like old-fashioned, like, trough baths.
Yeah.
Like the tin baths that you would like get bathed in when you were younger and shit. And he's lying in that, but it's all blood. So it's just like that poor guy was probably freezing cold. And I've never been more aroused in my life. Both scared and aroused. Because he's then there, then he gets blood poured on him, and there's this like thrall that comes in and is like, would you like me to heat it up? And he's like, no, I'll take it cold. And then just like gets doused and then sprays it everywhere like we're in some sort of Herbal Essence advert from the 1990s. And Teach then stands up out of the bath and is reading one of the hunting flyers, which is why I think that Hector's name was in the flyer, because that's why Teach found out that Hector was in the valley, which is why he was coming for them. So, and then Johnny grabs Dave. So he comes out of the vision and grabs them. And we also had Sean, who is usually a crew member, I believe, for the normal Flying Leads, but he came as a player for Nightmare. So obviously they were like, they wanted to scare him. So I'm just there like, oh no, in the corner, like being just glad that nobody's going to grab me because I don't want to get grabbed, and because I'm a little scaredy girl. And so he's like, tell Hector I'm coming for him. So he's like, it's not a vision, it's actually happening. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
We then run out of the tent because he's coming for us. So we're like, shit. We all go back into OC with our hands in the air, obviously.
Yeah.
And something that I love about LARPers is the fact that we go, okay, we'll sit down and then we're just going to scream just to freak the shit out of people. And we're like, okay, cool. So we sit down, we're playing all like, yes, lovely dream. Ah! And like everybody in the bar turns around and is like, what the fuck? And so Sean stands up, and forgive me, I don't know what his character name was. I just know that I think his name is Sean. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. But yeah, so then we're like, Teach is coming for us. Hector finds out that Teach is coming and is like, well, shit. And then it becomes this whole thing, and it's terrifying, and everybody starts getting very scared, because then that's when the Dutch couple tell us about the fact they basically like get everybody in the town around. They stand on a little plinth and they go, so here's the DL. We're from this Order of St. Giles, but we're the pacifists, like you were saying earlier. So we're the pacifists. We don't fight. The the fighters and the warriors that we had with us are dead. And what something that we missed, neither of us went on this encounter. There was one where there were like red robes, earlier, which you were talking about, and they were our fighters, but the vampires got to them first, so they're dead. There's no hope for us. So the best we can do is we've surrounded the valley with mist to keep everything in, but it also means that you guys can't get out. So poor Phyllis and Wyatt are just there like, well, shit. We came here on our honeymoon and we're dead.
Quite the honeymoon.
Yeah, literally quite the honeymoon. So everyone in this town is suddenly coming to terms with the fact that, we're going to die soon. Which is an awful thought to have. Like, you're just there like, well, you're all dead.
Because I think it was while you were having your visions when I went on the encounter to go get more holy water.
Yeah.
Must be.
Yeah. But there was also there was another holy water encounter, because obviously
Yeah, there was one later or earlier than that one as well.
yeah, so the fact that we were suddenly all trapped, that was why Ellie and I and a bunch of other people went out to go and find the wood to make stakes. So we all went out into the fort to do a bit of foraging, but we didn't realise that foraging isn't really a mechanic for ILOP, so we're out for 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's when you came back, there's like, oh, where's everyone going? Oh, they're going out to go get some of this wood.
Yeah.
There's an actual encounter to go get the wood.
It was so funny because we literally got back and we're like, there's no wood. And they were like, oh, no, there is wood. We're going to get some. And we were like, shit.
Yeah.
So we all go out again to go to this. There was a museum curator part of it. So they were taking us out to, their name was Christopher, I think. Usually played by the crew member that plays the Beluga, who's the new mayor of the town for Normal Flying Lead. Brilliant. Like, really nice crew member as well. Like, they're the kind of person that will see if you're kind of like hiding around the corner, and they'll pull you into the action just to keep you engaged. But yeah, so we go out into this, like, we went to go get wood, and then the museum building was overrun with ghouls. So we all get shit scared and chased around. I turned around and saw Ellie doing the sort of, the old cartoon sort of ring-a-ring.
Yeah.
But getting chased by a ghoul because Ellie didn't have a weapon. So didn't have a way to, like, to defend themselves. So it was so funny. Just seeing her get chased. So yeah, that was, and we came back into town with all of our stakes and all of our holy water. And we were kind of feeling semi-confident about the fact that we might make it out.
Yeah, as the day and night went on, and more and more encounters were happening, and less people were coming back.
Oh yeah,
it was getting because there's a few of the encounters. Like there was the one, I think, because I went down for the one which Teach called us all out for a fight down the bottom, which was one of the last encounters before the big one in town.
Yeah, that was the once you go on this mission, there's no going back kind of thing. Yeah.
But I think prior to that one, there was a big one over in Viking.
Yeah, well, that was we're doing really well at this. But that was Jesse, but that was it Jesse? That was your Sawbones one.
Yeah.
So basically, we all go. Did you take the stagecoach or did you walk?
I wasn't on that. I didn't go on that encounter. I was one of the people who stayed back in the town to protect the town.
Oh, do you want me to?
Basically, there's me and Ambrose sitting in the bar, just drinking away while he's mumbling to me and having a conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm out of the cloth. I couldn't dare do anything like this, but there's nobody behind the bar. So we just go and grab our drinks, and he has a look and he's like, there's $4. Someone's already robbed the place. We'll leave them that.
Yeah. So when you guys were having a nice old piss up in the bar, I took the stagecoach because I was so tired at this point. So basically, it was in Viking, which is where our tent was. And we all take a little shortcut while everybody's walking down the hill to go up the hill and around and things like that. So it's very scary. Pitch black at this point. We get to the entrance of the fort. And the Sawbones vampire is there and calls out a load of our townies and is like, you guys think you can survive this? You're so wrong. There's no way. Look at all my thralls. And there were so many of them. They basically took over that entire town area. And he goes, and you have no hope against my creatures and any of this, and look at my newest creation. And he, like, everyone gestures towards this hut as if it was like stars in your eyes, sort of. Tonight, Matthew, I will be. There's some high X tape, so like explosive tape, comes down. It's almost as like lightning struck a tree, and it's the sparks have travelled down into the thing. The door blows off its hinges. There's smoke. there's fire, there's lights, and then there's this thing. And it looks like a Frankenstein monster, but because it's so dark, you're just seeing its silhouette. And it looks like... It's going to sound so... The only way that I can explain it is like, Olaf in Frozen, where his body's in little segments. It looks... Imagine that, but terrifying. So it's like 8 foot tall, body cut up into little segments, all seemingly like just there, and it comes straight out and goes straight for us. And
nice.
Oh yeah. And bear in mind that at this point, we know that thralls, the only things that are affected by bullets are the thralls.
Yeah.
Ghouls, lesser vampires, higher vampires, and anything else above that are immune to bullets and will not get slowed down by bullets. You have to get close up and personal in order to kill it. So we just all scream, and there's gunfire, there's things. I turn around and somebody grabs me on my shoulders. And so I'm like, oh, this is probably Wyatt coming in for a lover's embrace. I turn around, it's not. It's a crew member who just goes, hi, and then bites me on my neck. And so I'm just there. I used 3 get off me's in the space of 20 seconds.
Yeah.
We were that overrun. So everybody makes a hasty retreat. I think we down the monster. I'll be honest, I think the monster maybe wasn't immune to bullets. I can't remember, but there was so much going on because there was the vampires, but then there were also the thralls, and everybody was just screaming.
Yeah.
And because it was so dark, and you fire, as soon as you fire your blank firer, because you
all
get...
your vision's gone.
Yeah, your night vision's gone, man. So I was just terrified. So there was... So everybody just gets overrun. And because I'm having a bit of a moment where I'm a bit terrified, and I won't lie, dear listeners, I did have a bit of a panic attack, which is not... It's nobody's fault. It's just because it was a new environment to me, and I haven't been in a scary environment before. So I don't even do zombie mazes at Halloween events because I'm that much of a scaredy cat.
Oh,
I know, so brave.
That's head.
Yeah, legit. So I just back into a bush and duck down, and then I realise, shit, I'm on my own. There's no one else, and I'm in the middle, I'm behind enemy lines, and I'm fucked. So I stand up and try and do my best vampire impression, and I find 2 other players. And one of them was the most cowboy, both aesthetically, because they were impressive. It was one of the white-hatted cowboys guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that it was him and either his partner IC or OC. They were LARPing for their first time as well, I think. They were incredible. Because this guy, I think he was one of the airsofters that comes to the site. I'm not too sure. But either way, he was incredible, tactically speaking. And there was another guy who was playing an Englishman. And we'll talk about the Englishmen later because they were phenomenal characters. So we're just skulking through the bushes. And because I'm scared, and because I've eaten nothing but shit food all weekend, as in loads of bread, loads of
Yeah.
yeah. So we're squatting down in the bushes, and I let out the loudest fart I have ever heard in my life. I'm not proud of it, listeners. The only thing that I'm proud of is the fact that it didn't smell.
Just that.
Yeah, but because I was wearing ear pro, because obviously you put your earplugs in, I didn't think it sounded that bad until the 2 guys turn around and just laugh. So there we are, in the most terrifying Mission Impossible James Bond situation, just laughing at fart jokes. It was so funny, and so just it was most embarrassing moment of my LARP career, and it's now immortalized on the podcast. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome, everyone. So yeah, we sneak down. There's a ref. that's kind of doing a little scan, making sure that there's no lost souls in the woods. So we find one of them. He leads us to everyone else in the fort. So we rejoin them. We haven't killed the Sawbones at this point. I think he's still very much alive. So we go back to town, and we're all like, shit. This is it, because that encounter wiped out quite a lot of our guys. Like it killed a lot of us, and the premise is basically when you die, you don't die, you become crew that come and hunt the players. So it's basically just assured destruction for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So and then that's what led us on to the Teach encounter at the fort that you were talking about.
I think when you guys came back from that one was when one of the Englishmen and some of the Englishmen and one surviving French priest, they summoned Bloody Mary in the church.
Oh God, I forgot about that. They're so funny.
And just remember, I think it was when we were walking back from the Teach encounter when we realised, hold on.
Oh no, that was going down to the Teaching.
Was it going down? Then she was just like, with all the blood in her face, because she kept appearing in the church with all the blood in her face. It's like, oh, hello.
Oh yeah, but she chose specifically. So like RP wise, she was only haunting one of the Englishmen.
Yeah.
So he was obviously acting absolutely shit scared, and everybody was turning around, being like, "What are you screaming at?" And OC, she was wearing they were wearing all black. They had blood on their face and a candle, and the candle was illuminating their face. And they had the most terrifying, blood-curdling laugh.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
It was absolutely hilarious.
So funny.
You know what my help is? Let's summon Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah, what are you going to do? So she follows us down. We're going down to the fort because basically, at this point, I think Hector got grabbed at...
I think... Yeah, they tried to get hold of Hector, but I think we decided, so they didn't get Hector's blood or anything, we killed Hector.
We did?
Yeah, the townspeople killed Hector to stop them from getting hold of any information out of Hector. Because I think that's what they wanted to know was where Billy was. Because he hadn't gone through the whole head separation and stuff like that to properly kill him. So he was just sleeping.
Yeah.
So to stop the information get out, basically Hector was killed.
Okay. That's
So yeah, then we get word that Teach is challenging us to a big fight down in the fort. Mm-hmm. And we go down there and there's Teach and Jesse.
Yeah.
And I remember them offering us, anyone who wants to change sides with us, do so now. Mm-hmm. And you got that one guy walks forwards.
And we shoot him.
Well, yeah, the guy next to me, this is when I got one of the many times that I had a blank gun go off right next to my head was bang, shot him in the back. And obviously he falls, and Jesse goes to drink his blood. Yep. To which he just whips out the steak.
That was
him.
So good.
It was such a beautiful... It seemed like it was fucking planned. I don't know if it was or not, but it was so beautifully done.
I was just there with my jaw on the floor. It was so good.
And then all hell breaks loose and there's gunfire. It's when I had one of my misfires where basically while re-racking the Winchester, I just hit the trigger with my finger as I came back up. Yeah. I was like, I could rapid fire this, but...
Oh, no. Yeah. But I think it's because Sergeant Cole, I think, was there. And I don't know that... I know that Dave's normal character, Hennessy Jones, has a lot of history with Sergeant Cole. I don't know what it is, but either way, that mofo is unkillable. Yeah. Until he gets killed by Teach, which, because he's the one that's trying to have this duel. Yeah. But we managed to apparently kill Teach, and I was like, so he goes down, right?
Yeah.
So he goes down. Jesse runs off. We're all in pretty bad shape. So we all go back to town. And this is when it's the big showdown. This is about 11 o'clock at night.
We get back to the barricades on town, and it's just like, there's everyone.
Because there's Teach, there's a coffin, there's every mofo. We forgot the thrall encounter. Do you remember them when they came in and sang carols?
Oh fuck yeah! And I think I remember a load of us hold up in the the saloon, and just held the door shut.
Oh yeah, there's so, but like we said earlier, there's so much that we missed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get back to town. Teacher's there, and he's like, "You mofos have fucked up. We've won." And basically, what had happened was, because all of the town, except for like 5 people, including Wyatt, by the way, my dear husband.
So you outlived this husband then? You outlived him at least.
Yeah, fucking Phyllis outlives the husbands all the way. But basically, they all got slaughtered while we were out. So I come back. Wyatt's a vampire. You're like loads of Ambrose is gone.
Yeah,
and
Ambrose is the first that he turned.
Oh yeah.
Basically, because when we all came back to town, everyone else came in through the barricades, but he was like, he just headed straight for the back entrance to the saloon.
Yeah.
And he walks in there, and the people who had stayed behind in town had been turned, and they were still in the saloon. And he just walks in and goes, and just walks behind the bar, grabs his drink, has a swig of his whiskey, and then just gets murdered by them all.
No!
I remember him telling us that afterwards. It was just like, yep, that's how Ambrose went out.
That is a very Ambrose way of going, though.
I think, because that's when that all kicked off. They're basically like, this is your last chance. Join us or die.
Yeah. And how did that go down for you?
Well, I went out gun blazing, and then obviously close range, machete out, basically hacking at them. Used one get off me to get one that was attacking off the front of me, then also another one grabs from the side of us. Yeah. Again, start mashing at them, then get off me. And then I just feel a tap on my shoulder, turn around, and there's just 3 of them. Wow. And so I just like end up just like screaming my head off and just going down at that point there.
Yeah.
In the darkness, in the middle of the woods, I'm lying down, and I realise this is really unsafe to lie down here in the dark. So I get up on my knees and have my hand up in the air. And there's a guy behind the tree who's like, yeah, I'm dead too.
Yeah.
Like, let's head behind the fence.
Yeah, because like I was part of the group. We obviously, like, Phyllis at this point is basically non-existent because I'm running on a survival mode alone. And I was telling everyone, I was like, I'm sorry, I've gone into Soldier Millie mode. There's nothing I can do to stop it.
Everyone was saying that to us.
It was like,
it's all right.
It was like, I was just there running on pure adrenaline. And because, like, so Phyllis's walking pace was no longer resistant. I was sprinting everywhere. And I get chased out of the woods, of the town rather, into the woods. I'm with Dave, I'm with Tom from Larps and Tarps. And I'm at the back of the group, and I turn around, and there's about 6 or 7 following us. So I'm like, well, darlings, time to go out with a bang. And I turn, and I have the most incredible cinematic and credit. Again, iLARP is quickly becoming one of my favorite kind of systems in the fact that they give you good deaths. Like this isn't just getting walled down by a random monster in a forest. This is terrifying, like guns blazing. I unloaded my pistol. I did the rifle first, shot one in the head. He goes down.
Yeah.
And then I was unloading the pistol, and I did 6 shots. And then this guy just goes, well, that's your 6. And I was like, oh shit, because I didn't. Legit, because I didn't have a close combat knife, as I was saying earlier, because I'd given mine to Wyatt because Wyatt didn't have one either, so I had nothing, and I get basically rugby tackled to the ground, and I'm lying there, just head in a bush, just like convulsing, like giving it all I've got, having the most amazing time. And I've got, all I see is the silhouettes of about 5 or 6 vampires. And they're just standing over me, being like, oh, she's dead now. She's going to be one of us. She's going to taste delicious. And I'm just like, and I was literally like, have you ever watched the We Bought a Zoo film?
No.
So, best scene ever. Right, Matt, sorry, dear listeners. We'll get back to Phyllis dying. But We Bought a Zoo. There is a Scottish guy who faces down a lion. And the way that he faces down a lion is by going, you don't want me, I'm full of whiskey and bad life decisions. And then the lion fucks off.
Phyllis tried that line, didn't
Phyllis did that line. Phyllis was like, "You don't want me. My blood is old. It's basically like just solid at this point. It would be more like gnawing on a cold bone." And they're like, "We don't care." And one of them legitimately goes and head in the crook of my neck and goes, nom, 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 nom. And I was having the best time. I was like fully RPing, having a wonderful time. And I was like, well, shit, I'm dead. They all run off.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is the first ever character death that I've had.
Yeah, same.
And it was a weird little moment because obviously it's like I walk back to town and everybody's having a wonderful time. So I saw you back in town at this point and everyone was just like having a lovely time. They were all happy. I see my dear husband Wyatt again. And Daisy then tries to convert me again. And I was like, Wyatt, you fuck. I'm already dead. I mean, by all means, do take a chunk out of my neck, but by all means, no. Yeah, and then do you want to talk about like the final story bit that we had? Because there was that weird vampire wedding.
Oh, see, I was behind the fence at that time.
You were?
So watching it through there, yeah.
So I'll talk about it then. So we talked very briefly about this jilted bride, and I'm very sorry, I never actually caught her name.
Yeah.
But she was very angry the entire weekend, which is why I didn't spend a lot of time with that character.
Yeah, she called a lot of people schmucks.
Yeah, schmucks, fuckers. Very angry.
Yeah.
It turns out that she was engaged to one of the vampires or something.
Mm.
So the way that the whole storyline ends is by having this actual wedding where we're in the centre of town, everybody's dead at this point, and or at least we think that everyone's dead, and we have this massive. They say you are now happily married. You may kiss the bride, and then fireworks go off. Obviously, imaginary ones because things, and everybody's happy, and then time out is called.
Yeah.
And guess who survived?
Dave and James.
Dave, James.
I think you're James, your friend from Northern Kingdoms, because
oh my god,
James from Fancy Nuts, he went pretty early.
Gus was one of the first to go.
Yeah.
So James, Dave, and Tom from Lops and Tops.
Yeah.
So the three people that I know about. I know that there were a few more. There were about 5 or 6 people that survived.
Yeah.
And
story-wise, everyone in America ends up dying
Oh,
because
yeah.
the vampires get out and spread.
Oh yeah. Like everyone's dead. But the look on Dave's face as he came into town, being like, "Aha, I survived." Ugh, infuriating.
Oh yeah, especially because I pulled the line from one of my favourite lines from Braveheart. Is the Irish guy saying to William Wallace, "I've conversed with God, and he thinks he knows he can get me out of this, but he's pretty sure you're fucked."
Yeah.
I said that to Dave.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who dies, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
So.
But it was honestly one of the most fun weekends that I've had LARPing ever. And it was a brilliant way to close out like the LARP calendar for the year for me.
Definitely. I mean, again, massive thank you to all the players, the crew, the story writers.
Oh my god, yes. The
everyone
SFX
involved.
team.
Yeah, the special effects team, everyone behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It was an absolutely amazing weekend.
Yeah.
It has been the highlight of my LARP year, to be honest.
Yeah.
It has probably been one of the best events I've been to this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will
So
definitely be
good.
going to more iLARP in the future.
For like anyone that has again, sorry for anyone whose names we didn't remember.
Yeah.
The encounters that we didn't remember because they were like I said, 20 planned.
Yeah.
And so many more like intuitive ones that came out of nothing. It was incredible. There was an encounter that we didn't talk about where somebody was being hung from a tree. There was that was the second holy water one that we talked about.
Oh, that's the one I was on.
Oh, well,
The
yeah,
second one.
that one. That was Christopher.
Yeah, that was one we got. Yeah, we got told there was a trigger warning out on the hunt for the holy water. That there is some stuff here that if you don't want to be dealing with this sort of stuff, then don't come.
Yeah.
I believe it was the mayor was like basically there from the tree. I think, if I recall correctly.
It was Christopher the curator.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the most terrifying but safest I've felt, ironically, at a LARP site. Like I I was looked after. Massive kudos to the the water heater. That thing worked overtime for my coffee, my lemsip, my hot toddies. Yep. The crew looked after us, to Kitty, to Johnny, to Sam, like so many names that we're going to forget or just not talk about, but you guys are all incredible. It's so good.
Yeah, that story-wise was absolutely amazing story behind it. And yeah, just everyone involved. Yeah. Just thank you very much for an amazing weekend.
Yeah, there's one more main story flying lead left in the,
which is for people
for current players only.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that extends to people that go to Nightmare, but
I don't think it will extend to Nightmare people, so I won't be able to make it to that one. I think crew, they're also looking at crew who have the crew previously. I might message saying if there's available crew slots, I'm happy just to be general bod.
Yeah, it's so like. It's just so fun. And then there's one Flying Lead Nightmare next year at the end of the year.
Yeah, and then there should be, hopefully, the Flying Lead reboot the following year.
Who knows?
I believe they're saying that 2025, there should be a new Flying Lead serving. Yeah. Or at least another Western style thing starting up.
I'm so excited. My LARP calendar next year is going to be so big. Like, there's so many things.
Going to be very busy.
So busy. Yeah, you guys we've got and also the raffle for the thing December 1st.
That'll be coming up. Yeah, don't forget to check that out. Dave will be posting about this stuff, all this stuff coming out soon. Yeah. A lot of stuff coming out. Also, I'd like to say thank you to our Patreon supporters. Oh. Without you, I mean, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of stuff that we get to do. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And
I don't have a dice or a name roll, but
no, so I can't pick anyone else. Maybe Dave will do a little recording to thank an individual person, but just thank you to you all. Yeah, you're all amazing.
I rolled a D12 and we got a 7, which is Ross Horton. Thank you, Roz. Really appreciate your support. Anyway, back to the show.
Thank you for listening. Sorry if we have rambled on for nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, sorry, Dave.
It's going to be one of those long ones. Yeah. Hopefully there's not too much editing Dave has to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening. If you want to hear more from me, let Dave know that you want to hear more of Bungle's dulcet tones. Same goes for if you want to hear Millie speaking more. Yeah.
Agony, write this down. Put Millie on the podcast more.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, thank you for listening. And we'll see you next time. Well, speak to you next time. Don't really see you.
Classic exit, Bung. Classic exit.
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll see the people that we see at the next LARP events next year.
Be a rooting, tooting cowboy.
Yeah. Love and kisses, guys. Love and kisses.
Love and kisses. Goodbye. Oh, 1 minute, 1 hour 47, Dave, you're welcome.